It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony. Insurance. Should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought. It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony. Insurance. Should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought in to rescue a Guatemala cabinet minister and his aide, who had been captured by guerrilla forces in Valverde. We located the downed helicopter, and the skinned bodies of those aboard hung in nearby trees, seemingly at the hands of guerrilla fighters. After assaulting their camp, it became clear that the mission was a setup. American intelligence had sent us to retrieve the captured agents who had been on recon for future military action. But none of that matters, because while we were clearing out the guerrillas, something was hunting us. An invisible killer tracked us as we made our way to the extraction point. In 24 hours, it wiped out my entire team. Rick Hawkins, Blaine Cooper, Mac Elliott, Billy Soul, Jorge Ramirez, and Al Dillon. The best soldiers I've ever known. Men I trusted with my life were butchered like animals. It was a nightmare. We walked in with guns, but it had perfect camouflage, advanced weaponry, and could see heat. It was strong and smart, a pitiless hunter. I waited, I watched, and when I understood it, when I saw how it hunted, I killed it. As it lay dying, in a final fuck you, it activated an explosive device. I barely escaped that blast. My radiation sickness and the crater of the explosion are the only evidence it ever was here. I've given my official statement to Agent Peter Keyes of the OWLF, but it's become clear I needed to investigate Valverde myself. Keyes was thorough, but he asked all the wrong questions. I mean, we have proof of alien life, but that life sees us as game. It's an alien whose first contact with humanity was to hunt us for sport. All Keyes cared about was the technology lost in the explosion. He can see the jungle for the trees. I see the threat. He sees the opportunity. Spies are all the same. I mean, we aren't people to them. We are assets. How many soldiers would he feed to those monsters just for a chance to steal from them or to learn from them? The government can't be trusted. So I will have to do this on my own. I'm cutting my treatment short and going off the grid. I will make my way back to South America to Valverde. I was told that there were stories about demons who make trophies of man. I'd like to hear those stories. April 8th, 1991. I'm not dead yet. I'll admit, I regret not curing my radiation sickness before I left. It made leaving the country difficult. I cashed in a few favors, took one too many off-the-book flights in rusted-out buckets, but I made it back to Valverde. The area was on lockdown, sealed by American intelligence for study. The complex centered on a crater from the alien self-destruction. I found the scientists slumming in a local bar. A few drinks, a couple of threads later, he was ready to talk. It wasn't much, barely anything I didn't already know. The blast emitted a form of radiation they'd never seen before. Some believed it was extraterrestrial, some didn't. Either they're not too bright, or there's nothing to find. I decided to let them keep searching in vain. It kept them busy and off my trail. I've been touring villages and small towns using the cover of an author writing about South American folklore. I don't know if any of them bought in, but they took my money and told their stories. The closer they were to the jungle, the more stories of devils in the trees. Some were bullshit, made up on the spot, but some carried consistencies that I couldn't ignore. Whatever it was, the demons who make trophies of man, the devil of the trees, or the skull taker, the stories always began on the hottest summer that they could remember. In the summer of 1987, Valverde Valley broke its all-time high in temperatures. They love the heat. It must remind them of home. Everything else confirmed the truth of the stories. Proud warriors skinned and hanged, skulls and spines ripped from their bodies. Maybe it was obvious from the beginning, but it wasn't until I heard the stories that I truly accepted the purpose of these mutilations. I mean, they're taking trophies. They travel impassable distances to hunt us, skin us, and mount us over some alien fireplace on another world. It would be disgusting if it weren't so familiar. Where do I go now? It's been on my mind all year. The takeaway from all this intel is that they've been doing this for decades, centuries maybe. They're coming back, and I need to be there when they do. June 27th, 1992. It's hard to remember that the most important part of an operation is patience. You can plan the perfect op, but you can't account for everything. If shit goes south, there's nothing to do but to adapt and finish the mission. Sometimes you just get lucky. I was in the dock, 10 clicks downriver from the Valverde border, figuring out my next move. I was ready to pack it in. I mean, I thought that I learned everything that I could, that there was nothing left for me to find. The OWLF had abandoned the detonation site a year ago, and I thought that they already shipped back to America. That's when I saw Agent Peter Keyes tie his skiff to the dock. I mean, I haven't seen Keyes since I gave my official statement to him. It was impossible, but there he was with 3 of his buddies. All agents. I mean, the clean, tidy outfits give them away all the time. I mean, they don't want to get down in the dirt, you see. That's what they pay soldiers to do. Keyes walked up, looked right at me, and shook my hand. I mean, with the radiation sickness, I've lost a lot of weight, so I thought that he maybe would not recognize me. But then he greeted me like we were old pals. Keyes is a good spy, saying nothing, implying everything. We spent the next few hours trading war stories at the bar. If you'd heard us, you would never have suspected we were trading intel on an alien manhunter. His cover was that they have been looking for a serial killer, a sadist who has been operating in the area for years, hunting people like animals and then skinning them alive. Keyes wanted to talk about the monster, so it all came out in the cover story. In many ways, they were just a few steps behind, surveying villages for information, locating witnesses. He did confirm one thing that I only considered. He told me how the killer chose his victims. They were always armed. A rifle, a pistol, a knife in the boot. He wasn't taking kids or random villages. He wanted a challenge. Whatever it was a hunter. When it killed for sport. I wish they were here for a military action, recon for an invasion, but the truth was so much worse. We are prey, animals, fit only to be hunted. Keys and his buddies paid the tab and mine, but before he left, he winked at me and he said, "Stay out of the jungle. That's where he gets you." I tracked Keys and his team for weeks, but they didn't learn anything new. Maybe they knew that I was there, maybe they didn't, I don't know. I've risked enough for now. I think it's time to disappear. Keep my ear to the ground. Be patient. March 3rd, 1996, Zaire. I thought I could wait. I thought that I could hold back and make my move at the right time. I couldn't. Fuck. I had to find them. I needed to hunt it or let it hunt me. I joined up with any private military company that was headed into the hot zone. I pulled every string, cashed out every favor just to follow the sweat and the death that attracted the demon. I eventually put together a team myself. Lost soldiers and haunted men, willing to fight and to die wherever I led them. They thought that I was a legend, and I let them believe that. I'm quiet and good in what I do. They needed them to see me as a legend, so that they could take them to die in a sweltering jungle. We went on more missions than I can remember. We didn't fire until we were fired at. They thought that it was my code. It wasn't. I was waiting and watching. Our last mission was an evac up in the Congo. A private munition base had gone dark. When we arrived, they'd been dead for days. Bodies strung up on floodlights around the base, all of them skinned, some missing skulls and spines. We secured the site and waited for backup to arrive. In the heat of the day, I stared into the waves of heat coming off the concrete, thinking that any minute they might come alive as the invisible killer. And then they did. I didn't wait. I unloaded every round I had. Trusting me, my team fired in the same direction. It wasn't the first time I'd done it, but this time I knew what I was looking for. It was so fast, we couldn't hit it. We panicked, and stray rounds struck the crate of RPGs. And that explosion hit other munitions that exploded. By the time the smoke cleared, the demon was dead, but so were all my men. I took samples of its blood, pieces of its anatomy, and what tech that I could salvage. And then I burned everything. Then it disappeared. I never checked in with HQ. As far as I know, I was counted among the dead. October 12th, 1997, Los Angeles. I needed to come back to the States. It wasn't impossible to sneak contraband through customs, but I wasn't willing to risk what I found in the Congo falling into the wrong hands. Instead, I traveled to Mexico aboard a cargo ship bound for the port of Altamira. From there, I made my way to Tijuana and I bunkered down. I had tangible proof of extraterrestrial life in my possession, but no idea what to do with it. I'm not a scientist. I did a soldier's duty and secured valuable intel. This was out of my pay grade. I kept an eye on the news. Los Angeles was having a record-breaking heat wave and a gang war on the streets. It was perfect. I could feel it in my bones. I'd been tracking them for so long, I could think like them. I could smell the prey. Ground. I had to get to LA. Crossing back into the States from Tijuana wasn't that difficult, but by the time that I'd reached the city, it was already over. Like Valverde, the OWLF only found crumbs. What I'd hoped might be an alien ship turned out to be only a launching site. I wanted it too much, and I got sloppy. I breached the OWLF's quarantine and was captured. I'd hoped to be bailed out by Agent Keyes, but he died. With Keyes gone, the OWLF was leaderless and disorganized. I was interrogated, but I negotiated my release by bartering the alien materials that I'd recovered from the Congo. During the negotiations, it was clear how little they knew. They needed someone who understood the threat, so I offered to work with the OWLF as a consulting advisor. They had the funding, the technology that I needed to continue my hunt. I wouldn't work for them, but I would work with them. There will be a weapon that I can use to hunt down these predators as they move to fresh ground. It's only a matter of time until they see us as a real threat. When the prey can fight back, it's no longer a hunt. It is war. March 3rd, 2008. We've gotten good at killing predators. Every time we find one, we come back with more tech, more research, and the OWLF's funding goes up. Together, we have gotten stronger and more efficient. For a time, the aliens were surprisingly predictable. They had no idea that we knew so much about them. But that began to change. They sent better hunters every time. They're beginning to see us as a threat. Or we've become a more worthy prize. Maybe both. We know this because our last encounter was special. We weren't certain if they had any gender to speak of, but that changed when we came into contact with the female. She was smarter and deadlier. She didn't fuck around like the males did. She was direct, ruthless, and skilled. I was in Laos when we first came into contact with her. It was Valverde all over again. Her ambush wiped out my entire team. Only this time, she got me. In a small village, I lost track of her, just long enough for her to pin me with a razor net. Pinned against the wall, razors cutting into my face. I've been fighting for so long, I was ready to die. I should be dead. Instead of making the kill, she cloaked and vanished into the jungle. The net relaxed, and I escaped with my life, and a scar to remember her by. She spared me. Only me. Like she knew who I was. I returned to the exfil. My first failed mission in a long time. Are we going about this wrong? I mean, we've learned so much. But in doing so, have we made ourselves a bigger target? I can't stop thinking about something Napoleon said. You must not fight too often with one enemy, or you will teach them all your art of war. I started this believing that we were learning how to hunt them, or maybe she let me live to just be hunted another day. We were teaching them how to hunt us. January 13th, 2019. I knew that the Predator's deployment to Earth would make it impossible to keep all of this a secret. Sooner or later, there would be another player on the board. I'd hoped that it would be another agency, one that understood and respected the threat. Project Stargazer. Our initial intelligence on Stargazer was that they were capable, funded, but inexperienced. But they were smart. They took the OWLF's funding and got it shut down. Everyone we could identify in their group was a disavowed member of another agency, including the OWLF. Lacking strong leadership and a clear directive, they were sloppy and arrogant. They were aware of the predator's threat, and while they had many of the pieces, they struggled to see the bigger picture. Stargazer was so far behind that we didn't see them as a threat until the event in Mexico. The recovered Predator escape pod was an extraordinary find for Stargazer, but the death toll was a heavy price to pay for taking a Predator captive. My task force has many directives, but one of the most primary is we do not take captives. Retrieve technology, corpses, and other intelligence. But there's no value in a live predator, only liability. The enemy does not want peace. The enemy does not negotiate. Its only drive on Earth is to hunt. What we might learn from a captive predator would never be worth the risk to our people. Stargazer didn't learn from their mistakes, and the technology they've recovered has only made them cocky. When the government cut ties to the agency, it should have shuttered their project permanently, but they only shifted their goals. Guerrilla factions and private military companies are being contracted by Stargazer to set up bases and equipment in locations that we have identified as ideal hunting grounds. We believe that the former intelligence project is setting itself up to be a fully independent dealer of otherworldly arms. This is the worst-case scenario. Hostile forces will use those weapons on their enemies, and they will use them on us. All the while, the true enemy stalks us unseen. It's a distraction mankind can't afford. Stargazer will have to be dealt with. "2025. It's hard to believe that I'm still here recording this. I probably shouldn't be smoking in the med bay, but fuck it, it's my birthday, for Christ's sakes. I turned 78 today, but I'm out there hunting. I should be retired. I should be doing anything but this. My life shouldn't be possible. But the very thing that I hunt, that hunts me, is what's keeping me alive. As we began to understand the predator's technology, we started to use it. A fight with a predator female went bad, and I was critically wounded. Dying, I agreed to experimentation. It worked. It worked so well that the cells in my body stopped aging. Pushing 80 now, I'm fighting like a man in his 40s. It's not the only experiment that I've been part of. I'm deadlier now than I was in Valverde. The OWLF has been fully reinstated. It's grown larger than ever before. We saved John Keyes from Stargazer. His father was Peter Keyes. I suppose you could say that he was a very dear acquaintance. His son is a gifted scientist. I worry about the future. The Earth is seeing unprecedented rise in heat and war. As the climate changes and the temperatures go up, more and more countries are becoming hunting grounds. We've killed so many of their kind, but they only send more. The number of events that we have witnessed has increased threefold in 10 years. We have made an impression on them, but not like we had hoped. We wanted to show them that we weren't prey, to deter them from ever sending another hunter to our world. We sent a warning, but they took it as a challenge. I fear we have made things worse. If the predators ever decide that we've grown too bold, I have no doubt that they could burn the Earth and all of humanity with it. My only hope is that while they waste their time on sport, we can rise up together and stand against them as a species. Until then, we keep moving, we keep hunting, and we keep our eyes open.
Know how long this is going to take?
Hang tight, hang tight. We just got to get this thing recording.
I'm a foreign national being held unlawfully. You have no jurisdiction.
Look, okay, you were right. Legally speaking, we had no right to enter Mexican airspace, no right to confiscate exotic materials, and no right to detain you.
This is a black site.
Yes, ma'am.
United States.
It could be Canada.
Climate's wrong. And your accents.
Smart. Well, Miss Nissenbaum.
Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Major Isabel Abigail Nissenbaum. Numerous commendations, though no mention of total confirmed kills, which I'm guessing is rather high.
It is.
But then there's this last note. Current status, absent without leave. Now, why would someone with an impressive service record decide to go AWOL?
I was taken.
Taken?
Abducted.
That little buggy you landed proves as much. Sergeant Major, I believe you've had contact with an aggressive alien civilization, one whose culture is deeply saturated in the ritual hunting of other intelligent species?
Like in Guatemala.
Well, we're aware of the Valverde incident. I'm surprised you are.
Word gets around.
Horde of alien manhunters wiping out special ops in the jungle gets around? Unlikely. I'm guessing you're a wet work type. Assassins tend to have unsavory friends with classified intel.
I wouldn't know.
Sergeant Isabel, look, we already have the ship. The only thing I want from you is your story. After that, we'll fly you home, first class, hot towels, and the whole shebang.
Why should I trust you?
Because we're trying to stop them. And by the look of the inventory in that ship, so were you. Alien jawbones, thermal netting, predator armor, and a bolt-action sniper rifle. Ballistics says it's been fired a lot. All right, Sergeant Major. Cards on the table. We're a task force directed by the United States government to assess and respond to a very real alien threat. One that attacked first and continues to do so with impunity.
How many have been on Earth?
That's classified.
More than 1? 5? 10? 100?
Too many.
You don't know.
Well, I know you've killed one, likely more. I know you commandeered an alien spacecraft and successfully piloted it back to Earth. I'd like to know more. I'm also one of a select few on this planet who will believe you. I promise I will do everything I can to take what you tell me and use it against these monsters.
Fine. Go ahead.
Where were you when you were abducted?
I was on a mission.
And what were you doing in the moments before your abduction?
Hiding.
Care to elaborate?
No.
Okay. Describe being abducted.
During the course of the mission, I slept. When I woke up, I was falling, like in a nightmare.
You fell asleep, and then you were falling.
It was a parachute insertion, like a halo jump. By the time I realized what was happening, the chute opened on its own. I thought I'd wake up, but I didn't. It was real.
From that elevation, could you recognize anything?
No. There was only jungle.
Sergeant Major Nissenbaum, in your estimation, during the time of your abduction, do you believe you were on Earth?
No, I do not.
Sergeant Major, a terrestrial weapon was found inside the alien spacecraft. Bolt-action sniper rifle. Was this rifle assigned to you?
It was, by my request.
Was your rifle slung on your person when you fell asleep?
No, but I was holding it.
What did you do after landing?
I did a supply check of my person and began to recon the area. I was disoriented. I worked under the assumption that I was on Earth, but somewhere I'd never been. It soon became obvious that this was not the case.
And how did you arrive at that conclusion?
The combination of flora was wrong. Too many species together that shouldn't have been. Others that I couldn't identify at all.
Were you alone during this time?
At first.
There were others.
Not long after landing, I spotted an American mercenary, a Mexican cartel enforcer, and a Spetsnaz Special Forces soldier debriefing each other. I believe we were deployed to the planet at the same time. Over the course of several hours, we found 2 American serial killers, a Yakuza enforcer, and a member of a Sierra Leone RUF death squad. It didn't take long to see what we had in common.
Killing.
Yes. Yeah. Given the situation, we agreed to work together to find a way out of the jungle. After a short time, it became clear we were being pursued. Hunted.
Can you expand on that?
There were traps. Hunting animals used to flush us out. No shelters or signs of civilization. We concluded that the planet was a kind of preserve. We'd been brought there as prey.
The whole planet was a game preserve.
As far as we could tell, yeah.
Of the 8 of you, how many survived?
Myself and the American mercenary.
You get his name?
Royce.
So tell me about Royce.
What do you want to know?
He got a last name?
I never asked.
Why do you think you and Royce were the only survivors?
Killing doesn't keep you alive. We'd infiltrate, complete the mission, and get out. We were trained to survive, not to butcher civilians.
You two sound chummy. How did you earn his trust so quickly?
I didn't at first. It was very difficult to earn his trust. He worked with us because it was tactically advantageous. He saw us as disposable.
And how do you know that?
When we were trying to identify the enemy, he used us as bait to lure them out. Someone died.
And why would you want the trust of a man like that?
Look at the list I gave you. Do you see a lot of trustworthy men? I knew he was my best shot at getting out alive. And I was right.
How did Royce help you get off the planet?
We killed the aliens that were hunting us, but we were injured. We grew close while we hid to recuperate. I think we would have left together if they hadn't marked him.
Marked him? How?
He killed the hunters, survived for so long. They must thought he was worthy. So they gave him armor.
Predator armor?
Yeah, but tailored for a human. He'd often spoken about how we secretly enjoy hunting men, that it was dishonest to think otherwise. When they gave him that armor, it was like the gods telling him he was right all along. That's when I lost him.
Where's Royce now?
He used the armor's cloak to find a landing site. He took me to it, and there was some kind of dropship and a smaller skiff. I thought we'd both take the skiff, but he said he wanted to meet them, face to face. I argued with him, pleaded, but there was no point. Whatever connection he had to humanity, to me, died in the jungle. His ship disappeared into the clouds, and I was alone.
I want you to know I appreciate your cooperation here today. We're going to be chewing on your testimony for months.
Sure.
But now to the part that, frankly, I am really excited to hear about. How did you pilot an alien spacecraft back to Earth? And just to be clear, there are like 9 engineers with their ears pressed against that door. So, be specific.
Before he left, Royce unlocked and readied both ships using the computer on his armor. I don't know if he could have done more, or if he just didn't care to. but it responded to me as though I were one of the hunters. Everything was in their language.
Well, how did you decipher their system?
We're trained in naval navigation, so some things made sense out of practicality. Others I figured out through trial and error. Time was difficult to judge there, but I slept several times as I worked it out. It's funny how simple it must be for them. So many controls had images and holograms. I don't think the hunters are very smart.
What do you mean?
We saw so many of them. Big ones, man-sized ones, but all hunters. There were no mechanics or techs. No one ever performed maintenance. If something broke, they abandon it. I think it all works for them, but they don't know how it works.
Would you fuck off? That's been a running theory of ours. Please, continue.
I found a planetary directory and just spent hours going through it until I found Earth. I grabbed my supplies and started pushing buttons in the directory until the ship rumbled, and then I sat down and prayed. I don't know how long I was on the ship. Long enough to go through my food, but not long enough to starve to death. It was quiet. I spent my time sleeping, soundly for the first time. I don't know how long. I woke up once and there was Earth, huge and blue. The ship wanted a landing zone, but I couldn't read the locations. So I chose at random,
Sounds like you got lucky.
I guess.
Well, that about covers it. I just want to say, you've been through a horrible ordeal, but the OWLF thanks you for your assistance.
Good.
If you want to be of any more help, there are interested parties who are impressed with how you handled yourself. People who could use your unique skills to continue the fight.
I'm ready to go home. I'm not interested in working for America.
They're not strictly American. Let's say they're an international response team. Here's my card. That number there is my personal cell number, should you change your mind.
I'll think about it. Goodbye, Agent Keys.
The last few months have been frustrating. You'll be happy to know our efforts to sanitize OWLF headquarters were largely successful. Stargazer is years behind the curve regarding the alien threat, but that's all I can report. Xenobiology isn't as respected as it was in the OWLF. I mean, I submit research data, but I don't know what happens to it. They strangle all the interdepartmental communication, so the right hand has no idea what the left hand is doing. You know, directors seem either disinterested or incompetent. I mean, it's hard to tell. All inquiries outside their personal interests are ignored, leaving so much data and discovery untouched. Well, it's safe to say, the only real directive here is provoking predator encounters. It's the only data I've submitted that's gotten any kind of traction. And I know I'm light on actionable intel, but sooner or later, it's just gonna hit the fan. And when it does, everything will come into sharp focus.
guerrilla group found an investor willing to pay them in gold bars. While the market fluctuates, that gold is still incredibly valuable. That payment is en route, but we're aware of a checkpoint they'll be hitting beforehand where we can swap the bars for fakes. If we do this right, it'll look like a double cross, and no matter who comes out on top, we win.
This is mud.
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. I'm sending you coordinates for a shipping warehouse at a train yard that was supposed to send the gold on. But a recent train accident has held the shipment up. Get moving. The crates are wired to only open by remote. Find a terminal we can use to force an open command. That should do it. Establish remote access. Stand by, fire team. It's gonna take us a minute to brute force the encryption.
Let's make some noise! Setting up audio decoy. Deploying audio decoy.
Oh, we got it. All crates should be unlocking now. Grab the gold.
fuck am I?
Kill this fucking thing!
Directing you to where we can start planning the fake bars.
Target inbound wearing camo.
I'm bleeding out!
Oh, eat this!
How can I get over there and save you? I don't even. Whoa, you're dead. You're.
Fucking jungle!
Yeah, I can't pick you up. Where the fuck are you? You disappeared at the fat air.
Normally, narcotics wouldn't be on our radar, but we've been receiving troubling intel on a number of unidentified substances being trafficked in the area. The samples we've recovered have dangerous chemical compositions with unknown effects for purposes we don't yet understand. Your orders are to gather any and all intel on their formulas, then destroy them and their latest shipment of narcotics.
Good for the force.
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Double time it to the drug camp at these coordinates. Turn that place inside out. I want every formula they have. We can't leave anything behind.
Cover me, I'm moving to the alarm.
Terminal nearby. Give me remote access so I can wipe it and the rest of their network.
Cover me. Changing mags. Frag out.
Lyosine, this is going to trip intrusion alarms. Expect heavy incoming.
How many of these guys are there?
Setting up audio decoy. AO is clear.